Hello and welcome to the Eclipse Evolution podcast. I'm your hostess, Savannah Rose. My co-host is Cuddly One. He's here with me today. If you can see him as my orange guy, we're very, very grateful to join you today for the last episode of this season, episode 18, I believe. This is my third year doing this podcast. So it's the third season. I just go by years, by the way. But either way, I'm very grateful to be closing out this 2025 calendar year with you all. It's been such a remarkable year of growth. We're going to get into all the things that have changed during this episode. There's been so much and just so many positives, so much stuff that's unexpected, just so many manifestations coming true, as well as like some challenges that I've grown through. So as life presents, right? And I'm also going to be including in the description and also the blog post of this episode on my website, eclipseevolution.com, the following journal prompts that I will be sharing with you in real time. I haven't even looked at them yet, but I just used AI to conjure up some journal prompts, just given the themes that I wanted to reflect on. And so I'll be looking at those and reviewing them with you all live in this podcast episode as another way to just process this year and share about this year, because I feel like there's just been so much. And so if you would like to follow along and journal with me, you're welcome to go prompt at a time and pause and journal. We can process together, or you can watch me do it on your own time. But either way, just know that those journal prompts are going to be available for your own exploration as well. So please let me know if you like that format. It's something that I just wanted to try out for this video because honestly, as much as I've loved how this podcast has grown globally, I want to say my Spotify Wrapped statistic was 999% growth this year. Crazy. I mean, first of all, I love the angel number. That's fun. But just, oh my gosh, almost 1,000% growth is crazy to me. And it's just been such a gift, such an adventure. Just loved all the connections that I've made with everyone that I've interviewed this year, and just made some good friends out of it too, which has been really nice. But when I started this podcast, it was something that helped me process my own life and share what I was going through and really find my voice in a lot of ways. And I feel like as much as I've loved having guests, and I did so many guests this year, I mean, just this year of this podcast was the most episodes I've ever done since its creation. So that was a lot. But I just wanted to kind of do a homecoming for this episode and do more of that personal one-on-one, you and me chatting format again, because I haven't done that in a minute. So that's what we're going to be getting into today. And if you might notice, if you're tuning in visually, that I have a bit of an upgrade studio wise. My now fiance, that's update number 1. My fiance gifted me with a MacBook for my Christmas gift this year, one of my Christmas gifts, and I was blindsided because if y'all knew, maybe from like my Instagram stories or something, that I was operating with just like a Microsoft Surface Pro for a long time, which is basically a tablet. I mean, it got the job done. I wrote my first and second book on it. I started my podcast with that tablet. I did a lot of college with that thing, so it definitely served me well for the time being. But the screen was really messed up. It was really cracked because of, ironically enough, this cuddly guy. He knocked it over and cracked it. Not on purpose, of course, I forgive him, but yeah, the screen was messed up. Like seeing stuff on the screen it was getting pretty challenging. And then also just like the camera quality. I mean, it served its purpose. It served that era, but it feels like such great divine timing that I have this amazing piece of machinery that is for professional use. And as I grow in my own professional career and creative projects, having the resources that accommodate that and promote that. So I'm very grateful for my fiance for that, and just grateful that he's my fiance in general. I'm so happy about that. Because if y'all have been watching my podcast for the past few years, you may know that I was in a very abusive relationship when I started this podcast, and a lot of the episodes were like helping me process that breakup. And it's just been like the past few years like a complete 180. And I mean, at the risk of like comparison, because I never like to do that, but just for demonstration's sake, just the stark contrast and 180 that this relationship has been for me. And it's definitely been just the highlight of my year as we've grown together as a couple. And I've learned so much about myself and experienced so much healing myself. And I think the healing that I did last year before I met him was imperative to meet and embrace that relationship and that person where we were both at the time. But just the way that we've been able to support each other's growth this year and just step more fully into like the people that we really are at a core, and not operating from survival mode anymore, but really being healed people, healing each other, healing ourselves, and then showing up in that way in the world and with each other. It's just been a really special thing and one of the highlights of this year. And it's been a lot of growth. Like there's been some challenging moments that I've had to confront and come up against, like with my own patterns or maybe beliefs that I was holding on to. Like I know I had to work through a lot of jealousy and insecurity that were because of wounds. Having like survived infidelity in my previous relationship that was toxic. Even though I did a lot of healing, just the intimacy and the trust and sharing my heart with someone fully again, that was definitely like a challenge for me to come up against and to heal and to take care of myself and have those open conversations with him about how I was feeling and what I've experienced, and letting him hold me through that, and also like holding myself both gently and accountable. So that's just an example of one of the things that was a growth edge this year, just with the healing process. And of course, as healing goes, it's never linear, and I'm sure more will come down the road, but just like so much was accomplished, I feel like, this year. And then like in my career, I would say taking a bit of a shift with that. I mean, I still do my client work, which I love, and I started hosting retreats, like private one-on-one retreats, which I love. Really special, really, really special. But also like moving more into the, I call it like off stage role, where it's not like me one-on-one, but more of like my own self-expression. So just like more content creation, creating my pet page for all my pet videos, because it just brings me so much joy and opportunities, and some really cool collaborations that are about to be released coming up pretty soon here in the new year. So it's just been really cool to expand while also maintaining my own projects and having them develop their own heartbeat and or change of pace as well. Like my magazine, I haven't released volume 3 yet of that, but just diving more into like the creation side, like the photography side, and giving that more of a its own heartbeat, as well as reviving its podcast too. So it's been a lot of expansion, a lot of nurturing what has been existing, and I'm just excited for what's gonna shake out, like the unknown too, because there's a lot coming up, I think, with this next year, like releasing my new book, which I'll tell y'all more about, and probably do a specific podcast episode about as well once it's getting closer to release. But I've been working a lot on that new book. Sorry, there's like hair everywhere from this little orange guy. My new book, really focusing on the release of that in the new year. And that has been a huge process, one that I admittedly was putting off for a while, because I think it was just bringing up so much emotion that I wasn't really ready to face, because there's like a lot of processing of my past, and I was definitely, again, like this concept of healing not being linear. I was coming face to face with that because there was so much emotion that I was having to process in writing that, like the first pieces of that book that I wanted so badly to be done with and wanted to be moved on from. So writing it felt like I was having to put myself back in that place, but really it was always inside me. It was there. It was affecting me, and I needed to just admit to myself, like, I need to get this out. I need to get this out so I can just be done with it, and not shaming myself for like still having anger about things or sadness about things or whatever the case may be. Those meta emotion concepts definitely were coming up for me with that. And then using it also as this tool of manifestation of what do I want to intentionally sow. I didn't want it to just be this memoir of venting or a memoir of poison that I had been carrying. But I wanted it to be something too of like, what do I want to become with this? What is this acting as a vessel for with my own just self-development and identity and stepping into and walking into this best version of myself and allowing that to be in combination with the expulsion of the toxicity that was in my body. Just me while I take a little sip of my cacao. I haven't had cacao in months. I finally ordered some. This is the Guatemalan cacao. I normally get cacao from Indonesia. This cacao is Guatemalan, and it's so good. Yum. So good. Anyways, without further ado, I want to jump into the journal prompts together because I think that's just going to be so much fun. Okay, so the areas of focus for the journal prompts are the big picture, self-relationship and identity, love, relationships and connection, power, confidence and voice, shadow healing and lessons, creativity, purpose and expression, home, body and daily life, growth, values, and integrity, and then closing the year. So there's a lot of questions. There's like 45 questions. We'll see how the flow feels. So that way, if it's like super long, I might make a part 2. We'll just see how it goes. But then some of these might not take that long to answer. Anyways, let's start with the big picture. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to take one more sip of my cacao. And if you want to follow along, get your journal and pen ready. Okay, in 2025, a chapter in a book, what would you title it? What would I title 2025? I feel like 2025 would be the year of love. I just feel like that makes sense because last year definitely contained a lot of love, but it was more like platonic, self-love, familial love. But this was the year of like learning a whole new definition of what love is like romantically for me with my fiance. I'm gonna be annoying about it. I just look how pretty it is. It's so pretty. And just feeling like my heart was cracked wide open in the best way. Like I feel like I was able to shed so much fear and shed so much armor that I've been carrying for a long time. Like some of it for a few years, some of it for probably my whole life. And so I feel like this was just the year of love, and not just romantically, but I definitely think like falling more in love with myself too, and finding ways to make love an action word with myself, because I feel like it was something that I guess like intellectually had like a conceptual of yeah, I love myself, but then like making more practices and learning like where I needed to improve on strengthening that self-love, and just like just love with family and creating a whole new definition of family, because with my fiance and I, just the sense of family that we've developed and our home life and the domestic bliss that we have, it's truly remarkable. I didn't know if I could ever enjoy living with someone. I never knew if I would like that or not, because all the experiences I've had living with people, whether it was like past partner or roommates or even siblings or whatever, like I did not like it. I hated it, to be honest. It was just always so stressful. But having like my partner be as supportive and in tune and conscious as me, and it's like home is really like our sanctuary that we get to share together, and it's so special and so sacred. And then just the love that we share with all of our babies, because we have 5 cats together now and our dog, as well as our other little babies as well, like our frogs and bird and snails. So because I had 3 cats, he had a cat, and then we got another kitten together. So just the sense of family that we share has been really special. And just like feeling that love, and then feeling excited for the love and sense of family that we're going to create together down the road as well is really exciting. And just that's just, I think, another thing too that's like really like cracked my heart open in the best way, is like, oh, I can have this. Like this is something I've always wanted, like the happy family life. and just never knew I was ever gonna get it. Like I think I knew because that's kind of what helped me drive my decision making, and I think manifesting the perfect partner. But I think there was always this part of me that was like a little detached of like, if it doesn't happen, that's okay. Because I think just with given like my life experiences and upbringing and everything, I just didn't know if that was like possible. It just kind of felt like a dream. But now that like we're making it a reality, it's like, whoa, I could be emotional just thinking about it because it's like, it just makes my heart so happy. Um, and then just like the sense of family and love that I feel with his family, because I haven't really had that level of closeness with a partner's family before, where I feel like this very maternal support from his mom and a deep connection with her. And even like with my partner's son, I'm not used to saying fiance, my fiance's son, like feeling that maternal side in me coming out and learning what it means to be like a bonus mom essentially, and like learning what that role is going to look like for me. And then like his dad is wonderful and his brother and so forth. So just feeling this like deep love and family, and just creating a whole new definition of what that is and looks like and feels like has been huge on top of the romantic love that we experience so deeply on a daily basis. It's just, wow, it's just a dream come true. So, all that to say, if 2025 were a chapter, it'd be the chapter of love, because, and like the seed of love too, because I feel like we really nourished this love and it's so deep now, and it's been deep for a while, but it just continues to get deeper day and day and day. And that's just been such a beautiful thing to nurture throughout this year. So, yay, I love it. Okay. What surprised me most about who I became this year? That's our next question. So, question 2, what surprised me most about who I became this year? Okay, I laugh because this year I feel like, so I've shared a little bit on my social media about the Empress archetype, like the Empress tarot card, and how I've been really studying that archetype and studying the energy and the concepts and applying them to real life. And that's been like part of my self-love journey too. And so really realizing that it was less work than it needed to be, and kind of realizing that I kind of already am in my own way the embodiment of the Empress, and what and how I see her, because it could look totally different for someone else. But in how I see the Empress, seeing that like I really am her, me, the Empress me at my core, and just letting that show up more has been really cool. And I think just becoming more of like Savannah the Empress. And I giggle because it feels like it tickles like the little girl in me, where it's like I like a princess or like a queen, but really like in holding myself to that regard of power and dignity and honor and wisdom, and also like the creature comforts, because like the Empress represents someone who is like abundant and takes care of people and is relaxed and knows her worth and all those different kinds of things, like, and really studying that archetype and like and honoring those areas in my own life. I I'm smiling and giggling a little bit because like I remember having this moment, I think it was like right around my birthday, where I was like, wow, I like really am that bitch. And it's just like funny to say it out loud, because like not to sound conceited by any means, but just like celebrating who I am and like the authenticity of like, wow, I'm not trying to be like anyone else. I'm not trying to be like perfect either. I'm just embracing myself more and honoring myself more, and that just naturally like makes me that bitch, because I'm the only me there is. And like celebrating that has been really cool, just with how it's attracted the right people and things into my life. It definitely comes with like a double-edged sword, because I've had to learn some detachment with like people who can't appreciate who I really am, or maybe were more comfortable with me when I was like staying smaller or shrinking to like not ruffle feathers or whatever it is. Having to say goodbye to some connections has been a tough reality of that. But overall, it's worth it. And I'm just so grateful that, again, like that my fiance is my emperor. I mean, he's my equal. He's right there on the same level as me. And just together, it really does feel like we're building this empire. And it's just so special. So that's the thing that surprised me about who I became, was just really becoming this empress archetype in my own way. And remembering, I say remembering because it's like, it's always been there, but it's just allowing myself to show up like as that bitch. It's been fun. That's just how it is. Okay. Oh wow, we kind of already touched upon this, but this is the next question, question 3. What did 2025 ask me to let go of, even if I resisted at first? Okay. 2025 asked me to let go of jealousy and insecurity, and that these things were rooted in wounds. They were rooted in me not being connected to my empress self. They were rooted in wounds of comparison. They were rooted in wounds of my own tendency sometimes to project. And so that was, I think, one of my biggest challenges and successes this year, was letting that kind of stuff go. Because I would say, so for those of y'all who are into astrology, I'm a Scorpio Venus. It's great, and it's also really challenging because we're known for being like very passionate and intense and all in and devoted and sexy and sensual. And we're also possessive as hell. We're also jealous. And that was like this shadow side of myself that I had to accept and also let go of, and let go of patterns that, like in the past, that might have wanted to show up because of that jealousy or that insecurity, and not wanting to invite that into my great relationship. Like, even though I was just feeling it, or even if it felt like that survival mode was triggered, knowing like that the energy is so important to focus on, and that like those old patterns do not need to be invited into this new relationship. And so that was something that I really had to take a look at within myself and be honest about, and talk to my partner about too. Like, I remember like telling him a few times, like, hey, I'm not proud of this, but like I was having this thought and this fear, and like I wanted to do this, and I stopped myself, but I'm just telling you so I can like get it out of my body. And just being vulnerable in that way. And it was definitely hard to like, I would say, like, look at those parts of myself that I found like ugly, essentially, or I was like afraid to talk about because it would make me, I felt like it would make me look weak or undesirable or something. And just like letting that be out for just what it was, like thoughts or feelings or wounds. And it's not like who I was or something I was like destined to carry. And of course, I still have moments that I need to like practice like my grounding skills, but overall, I feel very grateful that I've been able to put that stuff to rest and just exhale and breathe and feel good about myself, but also feel really good about the partnership that I'm in and the relationship that we have, and just the deep trust that we have that I haven't really ever been able to experience before. And it's just so special and worth protecting. And sometimes I gotta protect it from myself. All that to say, I needed to let go of that. And I really needed to let go also this year, this fear of being seen, which sounds kind of silly because I've been doing this podcast for a while. I have no issues of like public speaking. But I think just with the more and more I was doing content creation, just like getting in my head, I got fuzz on my face, itches. Just getting more and more in my head about certain things, and like, oh, should I make this because it's a trend, or should I make this because it'll get more views, and just being like, I just want to make what I want to make when I want to make it. If I need to take a few days off, I'm gonna take a few days off. If I'm like really rolling and want to make something right away, I'm gonna do it. So still gotta get this fuzz off my nose. So just letting myself do that and move at my own pace, and not like judging myself for that, but also again like the fear of being seen. That's cacao is it's everything. It's everything I needed. But yeah, this fear of being seen, and because like with wanting more success and abundance, also kind of means like putting myself out there more, and also just like as I've been moving more and more into like the, I guess you'd say, like performance world with my fiance, because that's part of his career, feeling some like anxiety with that. and like meeting all these new people and not wanting to be perceived as like, oh, I'm just like the band wife or whatever. And that was kind of bothering me for a little bit. Like I'm talented in my own way, and I'm talented musically too. I just haven't put that out here yet. So maybe I'll do that in 2026. We'll see. But yeah, and yeah, so just all those different kinds of things, like this fear of being seen, like a fear of being perceived, and just really learning to let that go and not, again, like letting like my projections influence me, and also even in vibes that I get from people, letting that influence me. Just staying grounded, again, in my Empress truth and worth. It's been such a grounding technique. So it's just staying grounded in that. And then I think letting go of connections, again, with people who were great for a certain part of my life, but who just weren't supportive of my relationship for whatever reason, or couldn't hold space for both, I think, too. I know with one friend in particular, it's just felt like we're at different places in our life, which is fine, but I'm not going to apologize for where I'm at either. I was just noticing like that was just weighing on me so much, and every time we would interact, it would just leave me with negative feelings or be so inconsistent to where it just wasn't healthy for me either. Because I really need consistent people in my life and want to model that consistency too. So just letting go of those connections or expectations, also like from people of like, if maybe last year we hung out this many times, not expecting that this year. And I think too, letting go of like my relationship to cannabis was a big one too, because it was something that I enjoyed from time to time, definitely like socially, but I just noticed that, and I noticed this last year in 2024 as well, like I just wasn't feeling like myself. I wasn't really enjoying it anymore. It was just making me feel anxious or guilty because I didn't actually want to use it. It was just in the social scene that I was in, and just not wanting to miss anything in my life because I finally created this reality of peace and love, and was just really wanting to work on this connection to myself, and just feeling like cannabis was not aiding that anymore and was also kind of taking away from it because I felt like it was affecting my memory, and I felt like I was just kind of on autopilot and not really like processing some of my feelings. And I also, like, in moving into my new relationship, like with my now fiance, just really value sobriety and presence, because that's what I was looking for in a partner, was someone who was able to be sober with me and who did not have like addiction problems and who could be present. And that's something that I'm really grateful for, like in our relationship, was cannabis was never like a foundational part of that relationship where it has been in the past maybe, or even alcohol, where it's like on the first date, you're drinking and then it just kind of becomes like, I finally got the fuzz off my face, y'all, in case you were watching me constantly itch my nose. I got it. Anyways, but yeah, like I think that's just something, and maybe it's my generation or just being like in your 20s, I don't know, where that's just seems to be such a part of like the dating scene. It's like, oh, let's get a drink, or like, oh, let's hang out and smoke or whatever. And it's just, I just don't want that anymore. I don't want that involved in my family and my children's lives. So knowing that I first needed to release that attachment, and and then I'm just so grateful that that continued into this year as well. I mean, I would say like in the very beginning of the year, it'd be kind of like a special occasion thing, like seeing Interstellar in IMAX or whatever. But now it's been about 6 or 7 months since I've consumed cannabis, and honestly, like I don't miss it. I don't judge anyone who wants to use it if that's like your lifestyle, but for me personally, it just wasn't adding anything to my life anymore, and it felt like it was taking away more. And so I just have just been enjoying feeling clear-headed and more in touch with my feelings. And I think that's one of the things that's allowed me to step more fully into who I am this year, is not having that extra thing that was also very tied to my college days and like days where I was like really sad and depressed. It just kind of had that connotation. So even just stepping away from that and like really feeling like I was leaving that in the past, and like I'm me and I'm happy with who I am, and I don't need anything to feel good or to feel like myself or to enjoy the day or to feel like I can be creative or whatever it is. It's like I'm just me. And so that's another thing that I released this year, and it's been really good for my journey. Again, no judgment if that's your thing, but for me personally, it just has not been an aligned resource for me. So I still love mushrooms. But again, those are like a once or twice a year things. Okay, number 4, what am I proud of myself for surviving? What am I proud of myself? I don't feel like I had to survive anything this year, thankfully. I do not take that for granted. I guess if I had to think of something, it would just be like really vulnerable conversations with my partner about certain things. Like as we've, like started living together and integrating our families and those kind of things, we definitely had lots of conversations that were very real and raw about boundaries and needs and wounds and those kind of things. And there's definitely a lot of, I guess, like fear I had to move through in having those conversations, because in the past, when I'd be really vulnerable in that toxic relationship, like those conversations would come back to haunt me because it would be like weaponized against me if I voiced a certain fear or need or whatever. So I think moving through that of like, I am safe, I'm with a healthy partner, I'm with someone who loves me and it is healthy masculine and can hold me through this. That was definitely something I needed to move through. But as far as like survival, again, gratefully, nothing like comes to mind with that word specifically. I feel like I survived everything in 2023 and like early 2024, where like when my house flooded and stuff. So I gratefully have been more just like working on internal stuff this year. So thank you for that. Let's see. Number 5. This is our last question for the big picture. Where did I outgrow my old self? Think about what this question means to me. Where did For some reason, I feel like the summertime is coming to mind for me, because that's when my partner, fiance, that's when he moved in, and that's when I feel like I was really letting go of that like living life on my own chapter, and not being able to like rely on anyone. I'm feeling some feelings come up right now when I say that. But yeah, I guess like that sense of self, like that old sense of self that like had to be hyper vigilant in a lot of ways, or hyper independent is more what I mean. Where like, again, I know I'm bringing up like the past relationship the most, but that's like the closest place of reference. I like living with a man again, just living with someone in general, because like I said, I haven't had good experiences with that. I feel like that's when I really had to come up against this like version of me that was like, my independence is what makes me safe. My own financial earnings are what make me safe. My home not being shared with anyone is what makes me safe. Like coming up against all these beliefs that like I did need for some time. Like when I had my rose quartz, when I wanted to merge with my partner and embrace this chapter of partnership, and being able to have an interdependent relationship that with a man who provides and supports me and just wants me to relax and be in my feminine. It was so hard, admittedly. Like it was so hard to let myself like let go and rely and trust. And I feel like I really had to shed that old version of me that equated safety with hyper independence. So I think that's something that I left behind in 2025. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of silly. I know it might seem odd to hear of like that's a hard thing. But again, when you've had that be something that like you can't rely on, or that's used against you, or that is not stable, or is rooted with like hidden agendas or whatever it is, it's like me just doing my own thing was the safest thing for me for several years. So that was very integrated into my identity as well. So I think like that part of myself that needed to open up and be vulnerable and embrace this partnership also had to let go of that part of myself that over productivity to my identity, which I've been working on just with burnout recovery, but that was also equated, and like financial, I think, vulnerability too, of like having conversations about finances, allowing someone to financially support me, like me being open about my finances, because I've always kept that very close to my chest. So those were all different things that I think I needed to let go of so I could step fully, like more fully into this new version of myself, the Empress and the fiance and all those kinds of things. It's allowed me to put some of those versions of myself to rest as well. I'm very grateful for them and how they got me to where I am now, but I don't need them working so hard for me anymore because I have a partner who is a real partner. That is that. So that's our first section. So I'm going to take another sip of my cacao and then we're going to move on to, let's see what is it? Self, relationship, and identity. Okay, this is going to be fun. Should have brought a spoon for my cacaos. All right, question 6. First one in this new section. Okay, how did my relationship with myself change this year? I feel like I respected myself a lot more this year. And really like I'm gonna get my feelings again. I'm not trying to suppress my feelings. I'm just trying not to like blubber during this whole episode. So I'll probably let the waterworks flow more as we get more to an end. But yeah, I feel like I respected myself more and really like saw myself more as like, again, like I'm that bitch. And I say that in like a cheeky way, but it's really like, oh wow, I really overcame some serious shit and am better because of it and stronger and more wise and resourceful. And yeah, I'm like, whoa, I really impressed myself with that. And also like just getting in touch with my inner child and allowing her all that I've done and all that I am too. And I feel like my fiance is such a beautiful mirror for me because he's all the time reflecting to me the things that he admires about me and how he sees me. And I think when you've gone through so much trauma that like has affected your sense of self-worth, sometimes like those things can get like not like maybe like muddied or like not at the forefront of your mind. I feel like I was seeing myself through wounds for a long time of like, oh, this is this thing I gotta work on, or this is this thing that I like don't like about myself, or this is a thing that like is a wound, or this is a thing that makes me different. Just allowing that not to be the driving factor behind my identity and allowing myself to like gas myself up more and be like, oh wait, this is really who I am. Is this like hardworking, compassionate, empathetic, creative, intuitive, like just like great person and like and beautiful inside and out, and like just really feeling proud of like my heart and its capacity and how I'm able to use that to help other people. It's just really special to me. So that's my answer for that question. So yeah, just like really respecting myself and like really feeling like I'm living in my womanhood now. And that's just really exciting. So next question, question 7. In what moments did I abandon myself and why? That's a good question. I think that's one of the like self-abandonment is one of the things like I really have worked through this year. I'm still of course working through it. Like it's never linear, but I think I've gotten a lot better with that. And it's I think just in particular like with people-pleasing tendencies and keeping quiet about my needs or boundaries. I was definitely a lot more vocal this year. If stuff was upsetting me, I was letting people know. And I'm really proud of myself for that because in the past, like I think I would have never let myself feel, let alone like speak on how I was feeling. It's funny because I was just rewatching one of my old podcast episodes a while back and looking at myself and being like, girl, it's okay to be pissed. Like, you're being too nice. And that was just like a couple years ago. So, yeah, allowing myself to find sacredness in anger and knowing it's like a huge advocate emotion, and also like being more proactive with boundaries and listening to myself and not forcing things to like with certain connections with people. I feel like I've carried the weight of a lot of relationships in my life and just kind of like letting go a little bit. And like, I don't always want to have to be the one to initiate plans, or I don't always want to have to be the one to initiate conversations, like reparative things, and or even just like conversations like and letting go of guilt and not taking things personally. I think that was another thing. I was taking a lot of stuff personally this year when stuff would be changing. with like friendships in particular, and just like letting go of that and being like, if they don't want to tell me what's up, I'm not gonna pry. And even like with family too, it's like if they're gonna be passive aggressive about this thing, let them. Not trying to like apologize or manage their emotions. I just am like so over that. Um, that was another thing. So yeah, I think like this year I was really working through not self-abandoning because I did that a lot in 2023 and 2022, and even some last year. So yeah, this year I was very intentional about not self-abandoning. So I'm proud of myself for becoming more aware and constructive with that. 8. When did I show up for myself in ways I never had before? Oh, okay. This is a good one. What way to show up for myself I never had before? Okay, the first thing that comes to my mind, and this is maybe just because it's more recent, it was on Halloween. So my fiance was performing at a concert, and the venue was really, really good except for their security department. Their security department was disorganized. And normally, like when you get to a venue for sound check and load in and stuff, like you get like a wristband that's like VIP or backstage access or whatever it is. We hadn't gotten any of those. We'd been at this venue for like 6 hours. Fast forward to the performance. My fiance is performing. I'm trying to do my job. I'm trying to get pictures, videos, work the merch table. And again, we never gotten those passes. No one had. And then the security was giving me a tough time about not having a pass. Like, you can't go backstage, you can't leave this area, blah, blah, blah. And it was not my fault. I'm like, y'all did not give me the pass. Like, this is on you. And I had never in my life have ever, like, in public or honestly in private for that matter, like with a stranger, gotten in someone's face and argued with them, like to where like I'm like raising my voice and like visibly mad and like calling them out for their bullshit basically. And that happened that day. I was heated and I was not. And I also, like, my fiance gave me his phone before the show, like, hey, hold on to this for me. So there's no way, even like after he was done performing, that I could get in touch with him of like, hey, come get me or whatever. It was like, it was just the worst. Long story short, I got this situation handled. I had a contact of someone who worked at the venue. I let them know that there was a problem, and then they came and gave everyone passes, of course, after that. But yeah, never had I ever like argued with someone in public. But it was also like an advocacy thing, not just for myself, but it was for like all of the crew, all of the performers. Like the headliners hadn't even gotten passes, so it was the venue's fault. So I'm really proud of myself for that because I feel like that was like a bad bitch moment. And even my partner was like, my fiance, he was like very proud of me. He's like, that's my girl. That's, yeah. So when I told him about it later, and like my friend who was with me, like she was bragging on me as well. Cause normally in the past, like I would have been so compliant. I would have been worried about getting in trouble. I would have been like working myself backwards to make up for their mistake by like trying to problem solve and not touch or like step on anyone's toes. No. I was like, y'all fucked up. You're gonna fix this. I'm gonna get in touch with this person. This is not gonna be a problem. Like, this is not, no. So I was very proud of myself. I was like, okay, who is she? Who is she? So I was very proud of myself for that. I love it. So yeah, just like, and I would never be mean or bitchy, like for no reason. But if there is a reason, I am definitely exercising that right. So yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind. What was the question again? How did I show up for myself? Okay, yeah. And then I think like showing up for myself in my relationship too, like just like making sure I'm really conscious about like stuff that I care about and not like over giving to the relationship, and like making sure I like ask for help or ask him to like, yeah, like support in certain ways, or which he follows through on. Thankfully, that makes that a lot easier. And then also like taking time for myself when I need it and not feeling bad about that and remaining committed to like my own projects. So that's something I'm really proud of myself for, like maintaining that balance too. So all right, next question. What parts of me feel stronger now, softer or wiser? Okay, so the parts of me that feel stronger now are, I would say, my intuition. Sometimes my intuition's so crazy, it like freaks me out. but it's kind of cool. And then, yeah, I would say like my ability to advocate for myself with other people, and then even just like with myself, like if I'm on my period or something, not pushing myself to do a bunch of stuff, like letting myself rest, like letting myself be taken care of by my partner. So I guess that's like softer. Like I feel like, excuse me, like softer as far as like vulnerability with my partner, and feeling really safe. Parts of me that feel wiser. I feel wiser in business, let me tell you. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't mention this. So I feel a lot wiser as far as business goes and like collaboration specifically, because I feel like I really learned how to advocate for my worth as a creator. And because I had like a lot of opportunities to create this year, like do collaborations with different like spas or even like brands for products. Every experience was valuable and beneficial, but some of them definitely taught me a lot about boundaries and values and my value and not accepting like less than what I deserve from a collaboration, as well as like if something feels weird, not taking that on, because I definitely had some instances where like certain collaborations, I won't name names, but like certain collaborations just like got weird. And like whether the other party would like change, like try to change the agreement of like, hey, I know we said this, but let's do this instead. And I'm like, no, I already like shared with my audience that it's gonna be this. It's gonna be like this kind of a like giveaway, or it's gonna be like this kind of a prize or whatever. Like you cannot switch that up. Like quit playing. So that was something that like I really learned a lot about. And then I feel like that was all very intentional, because like the collaboration that's about to come out like on the 1st of January with the Dodo, where like they reached out to me. It was a smooth process all the way through. Everyone I interacted with was very pleasant. I was like, oh, yeah, this is how this is supposed to feel. Like, this is a nice collaboration. No, like, weirdness, no hot and cold, no ghosting, no, like, shit getting changed last minute. So, yeah, that was really nice. And yeah, I think that was like huge. And then also just like not overstretching myself. And that's another reason kind of why I'm ending my podcast this with this solo episode, because I loved all my collaborative episodes with people, but it started to feel too much kind of towards the end here, like of that I just got to get this done, because my inbox was being flooded with people who wanted to do episodes with me, which was amazing. I have not sent out a single, I guess, request for podcast episode guest. Like they've just come my way. But there was one day, y'all, I kid you not, my inbox had, I don't know what was going on the SEO that day. It was popping off because I had like 60 something, maybe even more, like 60 something emails from people about like trying to be guests on my podcast. And I'm like, oh, first of all, I don't want to respond to all these emails. Second of all, I'm like, that if I did one a week, that would be my whole year. I'm like, I want to stay true to like what this podcast brings me, and I want to be very selective about my guest, and I want it to be like a fun experience and not draining. And it was just starting to get like a little draining. Not because of my guest, but like it's just like all the production that comes with it, and whatever. Whereas with this, when it's just me, like it's so cathartic for me, and I get a lot more energized from this process. So just remembering to stay balanced with that, and listening to those cues in my body of like, ooh, I'm not really present as I'm filming this with this person. Like I need to listen to that. I need to do another solo episode. All that to say, like next year, I think will be a nice blend, more balanced blend of like me, guest. So that's the plan, anyways. So yeah, that's where I got a little wiser. And then last question for this section, question 10. What did I learn about my boundaries in 2025? Okay, my boundaries. I learned a lot. Boundaries are best set early on. I learned to be upfront with boundaries and to not be scared about setting them, because the right people and the right opportunities will honor those boundaries, period. That's just what I learned. And because there's one instance where there's this opportunity that came my way where like I did a collaboration with a company and they loved my work so much, and then they offered me a job as their social media manager. I wasn't really looking for a job. I'm fine doing what I'm doing, but it seemed cool enough. It's just part-time. I'm like, okay, I could learn some more about content creation. I could maybe get like free services. So I was considering it. But then like they were being so pushy about like sign the contract today, and I'm like, you gotta give a girl a couple of days to review a legal document, okay? So I told him, I was like, give me a few days, okay? Second of all, like, I don't work on weekends. If this is a part-time gig, it is not going to be around the clock. Like, I'm not going to be on call if it's just a part-time gig. And also I was like just trying to ask more clarifying questions of just what the scope of the work is, because if I learned anything from corporate life in the past, it is you got to be diligent about your job description and your scope. Otherwise, you are going to get pulled in so many directions and get burnt out doing work that you're not getting paid to do. So I learned from that and applied that to this opportunity. I was asking questions and setting boundaries of like, I need these questions answered. And then they were so unprofessional after that, where I was like, no, thank you. This is not the opportunity for me. So all that to say, I learned to set those boundaries early on, especially before signing on a dotted line. And if you start to get like a itch of like, this doesn't feel quite right, listen to that and ask questions and slow down. That's what I learned a lot about boundaries, is like slow down so you can have conversations and feel comfortable and know those boundaries are not like up for negotiation. So yeah, that was what I learned about boundaries. And then even like with my partner, like he's been so great with all my boundaries, but we definitely had to have like conversations about like just like family stuff and whatnot, like especially as we like integrated our homes and like the blended family dynamic, and just again like wanted to set like a healthy foundation for that, so like down the road when we have children and whatever, it's like we have all that hard stuff out of the way and the foundation is healthy and strong. So having boundaries about like how things are going to be run in our household and like the kind of parents that we want to be, and those kind of things like was very, very helpful. And having conversations with a healthy partner about boundaries is such a nice experience, y'all. It's such a nice experience. And it was just like, wow, this man like sees me and hears me and respects me and cares for me and like is honoring these boundaries. What a concept. So that was also very new for me, but it was amazing. Let's move on to the next section, which is love, relationships, and connection. Okay, next question. What relationships nourished me this year, which drained me? We kind of already like covered this. Obviously, my fiance, MVP of the year. Love him so much. He's perfect and wonderful. I'm literally obsessed with him. His mom is amazing. Like just his whole family has nourished me. The relationships that drained me, without getting like too specific, as I mentioned, some friendships that like were just keeping me in that mindset of like needing to stay small in order to not have conflict in them. Yeah, that was draining. That was really draining. Yeah, that's pretty much that. I feel like we already kind of covered that question. So we'll move on. Number 12, what patterns in love became clearer to me? I know I had to really work on releasing that belief of I need to earn love. That really came up for me. And feeling like I needed to be like the perfect partner in order to like keep love. I really had to come up against that, where like, again, I'm so grateful my fiance is such a gracious, kind person, because like I remember having conversations where like if there's a certain month where maybe he was like providing more financially and I wasn't able to contribute as much, just like feeling this guilt of that, of like being a burden to him, and then like feeling like I needed to make up for that by like doing the most around the house, but then feeling like, let's say like I was on my period or something and I just physically don't have the energy to clean or cook or something, feeling like I was letting him down, where I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like I can't provide financially. I can't like cook for you. I can't clean. I'm just like sitting here, and he's just like, babe, stop. And in like the sweetest way, of course. He's like, you are the only one thinking that. He's like, you don't have to do anything. He's like, you just exist. I got it all covered. And I'm like, what? This is so new. So yeah, that was something I really recognized with myself, of like just putting this pressure on myself of like feeling like I needed to earn slash like maintain love through like doing, and just really allowing myself to just be in a relationship for once, and know that that's enough, and like that like my presence and my joy is all that like my partner wants from me. I'm like, what? So that was something that really came up and became clear to me. And like, I'm still getting used to it. I'm not gonna lie. It still feels a little strange sometimes where I'm like, it almost feels too good to be true. I'm like, what's the catch? But no, it's just being with a masculine provider man. Wow, it's so nice. Okay, question 13. How did I grow emotionally in my closest relationships? I feel like I grew a lot emotionally in just like my comfort with being vulnerable and receiving and expressing, and like allowing myself to experience like deep emotional intimacy. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit already too, but feeling safer to share fear, feeling safer to feel pleasure. There, like the list goes on, but yeah, I feel like just allowing myself to really feel all that I feel and know that like I'm safe to express that with my partner and I'm going to be held through that. There are days like if I'm luteal, especially where I'm like crying and I don't even know why I'm crying. I'm just crying and not like feeling ashamed for that, but like just allowing myself to be hugged and cuddled and cared for. It's just I don't feel like I've really ever been able to have that with a partner before. So that was a new experience. It's what I've always needed, but it was also a new experience. So that's been amazing. What conversations changed me? Is our next question. Yeah, like the conversation I just mentioned, like with my partner, like releasing that pressure and just knowing that like me just being myself is enough in the relationship. What other conversations? I would say, I'm trying to think, when did this conversation take place? I just feel like my fiance and I have had so many deep, cathartic conversations. Also, I feel like the conversations I've had with his mom have been very cathartic and very special as well. Like she and I will both be in tears just with how much like gratitude we have for each other, and the conversations I have with her are like so priceless. So those conversations have really changed me as well, being able to have that emotional intimacy with my future mother-in-law, and that's just really special. And I think those are some of the highlights for sure. And I've also had just like some great conversations with friends, like just like when I get together with my girlfriends, like when we're able to come together, um it's always such a good time and it's always so cathartic and fun and like illuminating. So I've had some really great times with friends this year too. So I'm very grateful for that. And then last question from this section. What kind of love did I finally stop settling for? Ooh, this question's a little spicy. I stopped settling, and I don't even want to call this love. I stopped settling for half-assed partners, people who do the bare minimum inconsistently. I thought that that was like I had something to do with their behavior, but no, it's just choose a healthy person, be a healthy person yourself, but choose a healthy partner. Yeah, it's like, wow, I cannot brag enough about my fiance because he's just such a consistent, like the provider mentality. It's not just a monetary concept, it's this ability to hold and say I got you, and that you can fall into that and you can trust that stability. It is just so remarkable. So yeah, stop settling for people who make you feel bad. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like for people who question your worth or make you question your worth or like question your sanity. Yeah, don't settle for that. This just no. As someone who's on the other side of that, I'm like, why did I tolerate that stuff? But I felt like I deserved it at that moment in time, or like I was doing something wrong. Again, I was taking on too much personally. So yeah, what you settle for, I think, is a reflection of like your self-worth in many ways. So yeah, you don't have to settle for that. Whoever you are listening to this. Let's see. Before I forget, I'm gonna make sure. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I had enough time. I have a client appointment coming up, but we still have time. I think we can move through these questions. Okay, Next section, power, confidence, and voice. Question 16, when did I feel most powerful this year? Oh my gosh, that's so great. When did I feel most powerful this year? I feel like I felt really powerful a lot this year. I think anytime I've just had like a kick-ass outfit on and have just felt connected to that Empress energy and connected to like the Empress in me, I've felt very powerful. And I am very grateful. I can't boil it down to one singular moment. I feel like there's been many moments that I have felt powerful this year, and making that more and more a regular thing and more the piece of my identity that's I'm not scared of, because I think I felt powerful in the fast and felt sharp and smart and witty, and I felt like punished for that because of people, particularly in the workplace or in like that toxic past relationship where like they were threatened by that power in me. And so like I learned it wasn't safe to express my power. But I feel like this year I was really able to reconnect with my sense of power in a lot of ways, and again make that more of my daily experience. But definitely like when I gave like my speech this year, that was a lot of fun. When like I was published in Playboy, that was a lot of fun. That was very empowering. When I like performed with my fiance at his show, that was very empowering. But yeah, just like the moments where I've been showing up as myself, even like in casual moments, that's also been very empowering. I'm very grateful for that. Okay, next question. Question 17. Where did I dim myself and where did I refuse to? I feel like I dimmed myself, like I mentioned, in that friendship that I needed to let go of because um it seemed like my happiness was triggering for her. I hate to say it, but yeah, it just seemed like I couldn't talk about my successes or healthy relationship or job success or whatever because it just seemed like she was threatened by it. So I definitely felt dimmed in that situation. Where else? Where did I refuse to? I feel like I refuse to dim myself at like my fiance's performances because like I mean, I'm definitely there to support him. I'm definitely there. Like, it's his time to shine. And also, I'm not gonna be like lurking in the background. I like to be hands on. I love helping with merch. I love doing like the like photography, videography. I love making connections with people. So, I really like to show up in full bloom in those moments as well and make them experiences that, like are nourishing for me too, as well as supportive for him. It's just like best of both worlds, you know? It's a lot of fun. Because I've definitely witnessed like some people who kind of like, I think like shrink for whatever reason. And I just like, I'm like, no, I like making this like an event for myself too. And luckily he loves that too. And he's very supportive and loves when I pop off. So, okay, question 18. How did my confidence evolve? Oh, yeah, I mean, I feel like my confidence was much like a much more embodied experience this year. And I feel like I was very like reinforced in like my career confidence a lot too. Like when it comes down to like my podcast and even just like my client work, like just like a lot of the feedback that I've been able to receive has been really helpful. But just really feeling like, okay, it's not my first rodeo. I'm not like a rookie anymore. I've been doing this for some time. I know what I'm doing. And just really allowing that energy to be present in when I'm like, whether it's like conducting a podcast interview, like I said, or giving my speech or whatever it was, like just allowing that to come from like that grounded place of I know what I have to say has value, and there's like a calmness that comes with that groundedness where I feel like I was definitely confident in the past, but it was more of like a I'm comfortable speaking, but I was still like trying to search for the right thing to say, whereas now I'm like I'm truly embodied in what I have to say, and I'm not like saying it to please someone or saying it because I think that's what they want to hear. It's like no, I really know my shit and I'm gonna talk it. So, yes. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But if you do, subscribe. So, yeah, that's been a lot of fun. Um, Question 19, what fears did I face even quietly? I feel like I faced a lot of fear. I faced like some fear, with like imposter syndrome for sure. Transitioning to my T now. I definitely worked through imposter syndrome, like particularly in being around people who like, I feel like I was comparing my success to theirs, even though it was like everyone's on their own journey. I feel like I was comparing my success a little bit. So releasing that, and like I said, just like releasing a lot of fear around like those old wounds of like betrayal or infidelity, and just like releasing a lot of that fear, and like the jealousy that came really from a fear of not being enough or a fear of getting hurt. Those are a lot of fears that like I released this year. So much better, so much better. And then number 20, what does my courage look like now compared to January? I feel like, again, like my courage feels a lot more embodied. It feels more of like a fake it till you make it. Even though maybe that wasn't the case in January, I'm trying to think. It just feels a lot calmer. Yes, that's it. Where like maybe in the past, like courage was, I had to really push through a lot of fear in order to feel that courage, where now I feel like my courage is rooted in a lot more calmness and peace and that knowingness. Trying to think. Yeah, just like my courage it comes from a grounded place now rather than like I have to conquer this thing, or I have to win, or I have to like beat this person. It's like, it's not like a competitive thing. It's like, I'm not even competing with anyone. I'm just showing up as my best self. And that's where my courage is coming from. So that feels nice. Okay. All right. Next section, shadow healing and lessons in 21. What wounds asked for my attention in 2025? Okay, I feel like some of these questions are a little redundant. As I said, jealousy, insecurity, self-worth, all those kinds of things. So I feel like I already talked about this. I will say, I think I healed a lot of childhood stuff this year as well with like being neurodivergent as well. I feel like that was something, and just like allowing myself to be and and have a daily routine or a daily flow that honors my own patterns and my own needs, instead of just trying to fit into like that conditioned, like very capitalist, hyperproductive mentality of like you have to be doing this all the time, but like really leaning more into like my needs as a neurodivergent person, as well as like my feminine flow, and my feminine cycles and like energy levels. So that's been cool. So releasing some of that. Question 22, what did my triggers teach me? What did my triggers teach me? Just that I needed more self-love. And like I also needed to ask for help. I think sometimes because I think that's something I'm proud of myself for this year, is like asking for more help, asking for support, and like learning how to do that and receive that, as well as like just taking more time to like nourish myself and like, I feel like I got something in my eye, and not like see those triggers as like something I have to like, got it, I have to like fix, more as like opportunities to love myself deeper and show myself more compassion. So I'm proud of myself for that. Question 23, where did I repeat old cycles and where did I finally break them? I guess repeating old cycles would be, that kind of comes up more like family wise, kind of like compliant behaviors, like overgiving or like being overly helpful and not like receiving that in return. That was something that I kind of squared up with this year, and I think I kind of made a vow to myself of like, okay, I'm not gonna like do this anymore because this takes way too much out of me. I'm not gonna like say yes to this anymore because this drains me or makes me feel like shit or whatever. So those were some things I think specifically like with family, that I didn't like overgive anymore, especially if that relationship wasn't providing me with any nourishment. It's like, why am I doing this for this person if like I don't ever talk to them or whatever, you know? So I was really proud of myself for breaking those cycles and kind of standing my ground as well. Like I definitely was challenged with some things. Like for example, a relative of mine was getting married this year, and like I don't talk to this person. I don't even follow them on Instagram. I don't even know their middle name. Like I don't have a relationship with them. And their wedding would be like, I would have to travel. it was gonna be like at least $1,000 total, room, board, the whole shebang. And I'm like, I don't want to spend that money on this wedding that like I don't really care about. Oh, it's like I'm like good for them. Love that for them. But like I don't have a relationship with this person. It is a very unequal thing. And I remember my mom being kind of frustrated with me at first and like really trying to talk me out of that decision because there's this like kind of imbalanced belief that like family does everything and like you gotta show up for your family. And I'm like, but they're not family to me. They don't treat me like family. Again, I never talk to them. So like, why do I have to extend that? It's just, it's not anything like malicious, but it's just looking at reality. So I was like, no, I'm not going. I don't want to go. I do not want to invest that. I'm not doing it for you either. Like I wasn't doing it for my mom. I wasn't doing it for that relative. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not investing in this. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad I did that. Or I guess technically didn't do it. Because yeah, it wouldn't have been worth it. Honestly, it just would not have been worth it. So I think I broke some family stuff this year. And like honestly, I think that's valuable because like again, as my partner and I are like gonna get married and have our own family one day, it's like what do I want to like leave behind now and like clear space out now so when like I'm a mother, I can be very intentional with how we're raising our babies and stuff. So I see like my work cut out for me now of like stuff I want to work on within myself so I can be the best mom moving forward too. And it's really cute. Question 24. What truths was I forced to confront? What truths was I forced to confront? This was kind of stumping me. What truths was I forced to confront? I think, okay, the first thing that comes to my mind is another family thing. I think like with certain family members, like accepting who they are and that I don't have to like that. And that again, like accepting, I think, truths of like where I've been over giving to maintain relationships and really asking myself, like, why am I doing this if I don't, and even like with friendships too, it's like if I don't get anything from this relationship, if this relationship leaves me drained or feeling defensive or feeling small or like wounded, it's like, why am I working so dang hard to maintain it? Is it just because that's what I'm supposed to do? Because they're my whoever? So I think that was something I had to kind of like square up with this year of like, I only have so much energy. I am only one person. Again, it's a two-way street. I don't always want to have to be the one to initiate things, especially thinking forward to like my family that I want to build. It's like I want to have a full cup that I give to my children and to my husband. So if these relationships are not bringing me anything or nourishing or safe, why am I like spending so much energy? That's energy I could be giving to my babies and my man. So yeah, that's something I really squared up with. And I think another thing too is like really squaring up with like I think like anxiety. I think I've had a pretty good grip on anxiety for the past few years, but I feel like it was just showing up in a different way this year. And so and I feel like I also had to square up with like carrying that anxiety all on my own, like internalizing it, asking my partner for help, like sharing how I'm feeling more, like nurturing myself when I'm experiencing that anxiety was another thing I think I really worked through this year. Yeah, that was something it kind of surprised me how anxious I was this year in some areas and how it was just like my thoughts. And so, like, really squaring up with like my thinking was something I really worked on a lot this year and I'm still working on. But yeah, I was like, oh gosh, I am anxious, or I'm not anxious. I was feeling anxious a lot this year. But again, I think it just was coming with a lot of growth, which is normal with adjustments. But yeah, it was tough. But just kind of not feeding into that anxiety and like just noticing the thoughts that I'm having. And I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do what they're telling me. I don't have to like fix anything, but just noticing and just practicing a lot more mindfulness was really helpful this year. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to do one more question, and it's gonna finish up this section because there's still like a handful more like sections. So I think I will be doing a part two to this because I gotta get ready for my appointment. So I'll either film part two after my appointment or tomorrow or sometime. But let's do one more question and then we can wrap up this episode for today, and then I will keep you posted on part two. Okay. Okay, question 25. Yeah, because we got 45 questions total, so we made it about halfway. Okay. All right, last question. What am I still healing without rushing myself? What am I still healing? I think I'm still healing. What am I still healing? I think I'm still healing like some like self-worth stuff, probably. I think like showing up for myself in just like the little ways. I think that's something I'm noticing, like even today I really wanted to film this podcast episode, but then I was thinking, I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to like wear makeup today. Like, I don't want to have to like do my hair, even though those things make me feel really good and I enjoy how I feel when I've done that whole regimen. But it was just like the doing the stuff for myself. I just felt like, oh, I don't want to do this. But then I like talked about it with my fiance. He was like, you should do it. You should do your episode. I'm like, okay, you're right, because I was just making excuses. But it was just the showing up for myself piece and like making excuses to not do that. That's something I still haven't quite figured out. But I think it's like, one, I mean, I am on my period because and so with that, like, I do have lower energy, and so I was like, I don't want to stand to do my hair. But also, like, I think it's just like in those small things. And so I'm just trying to adopt more selfishness. That's actually something I've been kind of journaling about lately, of like doing this stuff for myself first. Even just like in my morning routine, like I'll get up, first thing I'll do is like go take care of all my pets. And then like I'll do my beauty regimen, skincare, whatever after that. And I'm trying to flip that lately. I'm trying to like get up and shower, do my skincare, and then go feed the babies. And it's like, what, 10, 15 more minutes? Like, it's not gonna make or break it. Plus, they have automatic feeders, so it's not like they're starving. But it's like giving them their morning treats and, you know, just taking care of them. I love doing that. But I also notice, like, I feel so much more composed and rooted and grounded and confident when I do those things for myself. And if I jump up and start like getting carried away with the fur babies and even just the household chores, I'll put my self-care kind of dead last. And even then, like, if I still have energy for it, like, I'll kind of half-ass it because I just spent the whole day mopping and sweeping or whatever. So trying to just balance more of that. And it's funny because like on those days where like I do my self-care, like, I have more energy because I filled up my cup. So it's like, wow, what a concept. It's not rocket science, but yeah, I think that's just something I'm trying to be more mindful of. And so I'm kind of calling it like, I need to be more selfish. I need to take care of myself first. And so that's something that like I've been working on lately and still am working on. So yeah, I think that's that for this part. We'll do part two, but I would love to know your thoughts, where you are in your journey, if any of these questions resonated with you or challenged you. But just all in all, thank you for such an amazing year. And thank you for being on this journey with me, whether you're listening or watching or both. Just the fact that you take time out of your day to share in this experience with me, it means so much, because I started this podcast and I really didn't think anyone was going to listen to it. I didn't really care. I was just doing it for myself. But the fact that so many of you tune in and listen and are nourished by my experience that I share, it's just so cool. I don't know what else to say. It's like, wow, I just feel like that's such a amazing just testament to humanity. And before I forget, I'm gonna turn off, my alarm is about to go off from my appointment. Okay, there we go. I didn't want that to be loud. But anyways, yeah, it's just so cool and special and humbling and inspiring. And I just really am so thankful for each and every one of you for tuning in and connecting with me. And if this is your first time tuning in, thank you. If this is your 18th time this year, or if you've been here from the very beginning, thank you. It all means so much to me. And if you like this conversation and want to stay up to date with more, please feel free to follow, subscribe at Eclipse Evolution LLC's Instagram. You can also subscribe here on YouTube, the Savannah Rose. That's also my personal Instagram and TikTok, so I'm all over the place. You can find me. We can stay connected. But thank you so much. Y'all, thank you for making 2025 truly such a special year. It's so special, and I feel like I've just really been able to embody myself more this year, and it's a gift to be able to share that with you. And I'm just really excited for what we cook up in 2026 together, but we're not done processing 2025. We're gonna do part two, so stay tuned for that. But until then, have a great rest of your day. I'm your host, Savannah Rose, and bye for now.